you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Moore
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. Pierre, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good. A little update for people. There was a lot of false reporting on the LA Kings Columbus Blue Jackets early start, thinking it was for European consumption. No.
It was a makeup game.
That's correct.
Yes.
And it was for Columbus to be able to get to Tampa, and it was for LA to get to Boston, where they play both of them tonight.
That's right.
So that had nothing to do with European consumption.
And that was.
And I hate to keep doing this. I hate to keep doing it, but stuff gets sent to me all the time, as you know, and enough of the fake reporting. Just stop.
I have to own that, Pierre. I made a mistake. I wasn't trying to fake report. I just simply made a mistake. I figured it was this new thing they were doing, trying to reach the European markets where they're going to be playing matinees during the week.
Yeah.
But
that wasn't for yesterday.
Yep, that was not yesterday. That was a snowstorm, I believe, back in December that hit the Columbus area, and they had to make it up.
Anyway, so that's number one. Number two, I love watching Gabe Perreault play with Alexis Lafreniere and Mika Zibanejad. That line shredded the Flyers. That Gabe Perreault is really coming into his own. That's really exciting. Hardly watched any of Calgary and Washington. You made the point to me earlier today about Chicago, good win over Utah. Utah was reading their press clippings. And Ottawa went into Vancouver at the end of a 5-game road trip and held them to 16 shots on net. Just watching the game, I'm like, come on. I know it's not that Van didn't try. They're trying. They got a long way to go. Oh, boy.
They do. On the Ottawa side of that, though, Pierre, and I want to credit them. I think that it's kind of an underrated story right now across the NHL. Maybe it's getting more attention in Ottawa. They have been playing much better structured defensive hockey and more playoff-like hockey as of late. I don't know if you'd agree with me.
They've been doing that for a while. They've had to because of all the injuries. Kachuk got hurt at the beginning of the year. Shabbat got hurt. Now they got no Sanderson. They've had to adapt and overcome. They didn't have Lars Eller for a while. They had to move Ridley Gregg to right wing instead of playing him at center. They lost Pinto, who was their hottest offensive player for a long time. The thing that's carried them through Sanderson's stability and Stützle. And don't forget, they lost the goalie too. You know, he had some mental health issues, so he had to go through that stuff. They've had to adapt. So I give Travis Green and his staff a lot of credit. The only thing that's better for them, though, I'm going to tell you, Jimmy, their penalty kills are worse in the league at the start of the year. Their penalty killing is actually good now because they're aggressive. They changed. They gave Mike Yeo the penalty killing responsibilities, not Nolan Baumgartner. And because of that, it's totally changed.
How much more are they going to have to continue to do what we're talking about here with Sanderson out, Pierre?
Well, you reported on Sanderson. You know more about Sanderson than anybody. But, that's going to be pretty significant.
Right.
Pierre, it's going to be hard. So here what happened. So Cleven's going to move up, and he's going to have to handle minutes. So he's probably going to have to go from like 14 to 18. Jordan Spence probably going to have to go from 13 to about 17. So those guys are going to get increased minutes. Manton Paulo is going to have to play way above. You're going to have to play like he played in the Olympics. So there are guys there that have to play a little bit bigger and better.
Yep.
Shabbat's the number one guy, though. If Tommy keeps taking – he took 2 penalties last night. If Tommy keeps taking penalties, they're in trouble. He's got to be on the ice probably 24 to 27 minutes a game.
Looking at the standings right now, Pierre, Ottawa is 3 points out there. The Columbus Blue Jackets are 2 points out of the final wildcard spot that the Boston Bruins hold right now. You're looking at those two teams, Columbus and Ottawa.
Yeah.
Who, if you got a gun to your head, who would you think has a better chance?
Ottawa.
I do too.
Ottawa. And I'll tell you one other thing. Go look at it. I don't need notes. Go look at Detroit's goal differential, -1.
Mm-hmm.
Go look at Ottawa's goal differential, +16.
Yep. Yeah. It's amazing that Detroit is where they are with
They're
that.
They're the only team in the Eastern Conference with a minus goal differential that's in a playoff position.
Yeah. And by the way, speaking of playoff races here, the West has got a little tighter than it was before the Olympics right now, Pierre. Kings and Sharks.
San Jose and the Kings. DJ will do a good job there. Not a knock on Jimmy Hiller. DJ's doing a good job. I watched him last night. I was laughing actually yesterday afternoon after we were done. I was like, that's DJ. He's bumping around and talking and getting stuff going. That was a good win for them yesterday. They got win in Boston tonight. They got a legitimate chance.
Yeah.
They got a legitimate chance. That Panarin, Kempe, and Kopitar line's really good. Really good. It's really good.
What do you think of their D?
They're all old.
I know, but in turn, like
Except for Clark, they're all old. No, they're too old.
Yeah.
Kenny, I get what Kenny was trying to do, but they kind of miscalculated on the D.
Do you think when you say you get what he's trying to do, is that he was just trying to build it more for experience for when they get to the playoffs?
Yeah, well, I think they
took
it for
get
granted.
to the playoffs to do that.
I think they took it for granted they would be a playoff team, but some guys didn't. So they need a lot more from Turcotte. I know he's been hurt. They need a lot more from Laferriere. He's had some injury stuff. They obviously don't have Fiala. I mean, there's stuff there. They need more from certain guys.
But somehow they're still right there.
Yeah, no, they are right there.
Not credit. They are right there.
No, they're right there. San Jose scares me, though. If I were LA, I'd be worried about San Jose.
Yeah, and I'll get to them later in a bit, Pierre. All right, switching gears, and we'll get back to teams and games in a bit. But I wanted to play this clip from Pat Maroon, and we spoke about it this morning, Pierre. I made some interesting comments about the pressure of playing in Toronto and how hard it must be for players, well, in his opinion, for players to deal with it. So let's play the clip, and then I want to get your reaction. I'll give you mine.
Yep.
In that room, and you've lost 7 in a row, the season's spiraling out of control, and there's not a lot of life going on, on the ice. How would you maybe try to change that situation if possible?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell because never been in the room. Obviously, losing 7 straight it's tough. So I think, honestly, at the end of the day, just putting your work boots on, just going to work. Kind of weeding out the noise and weeding out everything else, and just take the structure out of the game and just go play hard. It's tough. I mean, being a Leafs fan and probably playing for the Leafs, a lot of pressure on those guys, and I think you can see it too. And I know we can all sit there and say it doesn't bother people. For sure it does. At the end of the day, as players, you read articles, and I know you guys did too when you played. So as much as we can say we don't, I think it does spiral sometimes in the room, and reading too much or getting caught up in the wrong stuff.
Well, Patty, when you say it's almost like when you said this pressure. Do you think there's any more pressure playing in Toronto than there is for the Tampa Bay Lightning or the St. Louis Blues?
There's not 25 media people in your room every day. In Tampa, there's 4 people that walk in your room every day. I think the standard's high.
How does that affect pressure?
Well, I just think the articles and stuff like that and stuff that's out there. At the end of the day, there's pressure everywhere you play. You're as a professional athlete. You guys lived it. You have pressure every single day to perform and be at your best every single night. Unfortunately, you're not going to have your best every single night. And listen, if your A game's not your A game, then how do you find your B and C game? And how do you grind yourself out to get to your game? And, everyone sees everyone's great. But how about staying consistent, being your B or C game when you can find ways to grind something out of it? It's not going your way. That just goes with it. I think just staying in NHL for players too. The everyday grind and the pressure that goes with it. It's high. You're performing for yourself, but your teammates too. And I think sometimes that can get in the way with it. If there's a lot of social media now. People post stuff and about you, and sometimes about your. There's so much more out there that when you go on your social media accounts, you read stuff, and I think that can get to you too. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know. I'm not speaking for, Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm speaking on behalf of myself.
Okay, Pierre, you want to tackle it first?
No, go ahead.
All right. So as I said to you off air when I texted you earlier this morning, I first heard right away. The first instinct I had was, really? I mean, you guys are making millions of dollars. That's part of it, is to deal with the media and deal with the fans and deal with the criticism. And I just wanted to say, like, you sound very entitled. You sound out of touch. And then, I took a step back throughout the day and looked at different takes on it all day. And I can see where he's coming from. But at the same time, I don't think a lot of the fans are going to see it that way. Like I'm able to be in those locker rooms and see the pressure that these guys are under, and the constant media attention and criticism they have to have. But also, that's part of their job. That's what they sign up for, and they're getting paid a lot of money to do it. So I just feel like Pat Maroon was a little out of touch saying that, especially in today's society where people are struggling to even have the money to buy tickets to go to the games. I think it was maybe something down the road he might regret saying.
I'll tell you what pressure is: having 3 children, a wife, a car payment, a mortgage payment, and having to feed them, clothe them, and make sure that everybody's looked after, and you lose your job. And then you got to pay your healthcare bills.
Mm-hmm.
That's pressure.
Yeah.
I know Pat very well. I respect Pat very much. He played on my friend's team, Ray Shiro's team, in Jersey. Helped get him there. I like him. I did a bunch of interviews with him the year that they won the Cup in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Right at center ice in St. Louis. He's a St. Louis guy, so I got nothing against Pat. Pat's entitled to his own opinion. I don't think Toronto's that hard a market on the media side for players, honestly. I think they go after the management. They go after the president of hockey operations. They go after the coach. They go after the assistant coach. They got Mark Savard fired.
Mm-hmm.
They got Mark Savard fired. The media pushed upper management and the coaches into a position of intimidation to get rid of Mitchell Marner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I respect, having grown up in Montreal and delivered the Montreal Star, the only afternoon paper they had at that time on the English side. Afternoon papers have disappeared, but I delivered that paper, and Red Fisher was the lead columnist of that paper. And you should have seen what it was like for Guy Lafleur his first 2 years in the NHL as a 20-year-old. Should have seen it. It was savage. And the guy scored almost 30 goals 2 years in a row. They were crucifying him in both languages, French and English.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally don't think it's that hard to play in Toronto. And I don't want to hear somebody say, oh, and by the way, you never played in Toronto. No, I didn't. I broadcast hundreds of games from Toronto. I coached a plethora of games in Toronto. So I know, and I lived in Toronto.
Yeah.
So, and I worked for a Toronto-based company, and I know a lot of former Leafs, and they who played in other markets, they liked Toronto. So I don't know where all this stuff comes from. But anyways.
Yeah, I don't either, Pierre, and I'm with you. Look, I respect Pat Maroon. I only know him professionally from interviewing him. I've never had a bad interview with him. In fact, I enjoyed it because he's always been willing to just talk about life, talk about hockey, and not just
he's a good person. I have no, like I said, he's entitled to his own opinion. He is. Yeah. He's entitled to it. But I would respectfully say that I think they're harder markets.
Oh, I think Montreal by far.
If you're a fan who doesn't believe me, call up Alexis Lafreniere and ask him how he likes New York.
Yeah.
Ask Capo Caco how he liked New York.
Yep.
Ask JT Miller how he likes New York, except for the golf, maybe at Wingfoot or out on Long Island.
Uh-huh.
How's he liking living there with the way the media's beating him up?
How about Elias Pettersson in Vancouver?
You can ask him.
Right.
Vancouver's a goalie graveyard. Why don't you ask some of the goalies that were there before? Ask Dan Cloutier what it was like in Vancouver.
Or Luongo, yeah.
It's okay. Just ask those guys.
Yeah. So just want to touch on that. It's a hot topic across the NHL, and I think we're pretty much in agreement on that one. All right, Pierre, back to the games and the teams and the standings and everything in the hockey right now. Another question I had for you, and you can just right away tell me I'm nuts. Do you think it's possible for teams to peak too early and then come down at the wrong time when the playoffs start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's part of coaching. That's part of coaching. So you got to set your team up. You got to look at the science of coaching in the NHL is about schedule evaluation. It is. It's about evaluating when you can push your guys, when you have to back off your guys. When do you need your guys to really start to peak? When do you like if you're in the middle of a playoff battle, that's like being in the playoffs. It's really important those games in October and obviously November. The more points you put in the bank, the bigger cushion you create, the more opportunity you have to maybe give guys a little downtime, maybe not push as hard at practices, maybe a couple extra days off. Maybe guys don't have to play hurt as much. There's a lot of different things you can do, but schedule evaluation for a coach is really important. And if you're not doing that as a coach in the league, in terms of practices, especially those Western teams, it's so savage. You're probably not going to have success in the playoffs.
So the reason this comes up to, and I've just been watching the whole Buffalo Sabres situation right now. And I want to preface this by saying, I don't think this will be the case for the Sabres. I think they're in a good spot, and I think they'll be able to carry the momentum they're building right now into the playoffs and utilize it there. However, it just brought me back. I was thinking back to 1992-93 season. The Boston Bruins finished tops in the league, I believe. It might have been the President's Trophy or the Eastern Conference.
Pittsburgh won the President's Trophy.
Okay, so they were a high seed, and actually you took part in having them play the Buffalo Sabres in the first round, correct?
Yeah, we beat actually that was 94 season. We beat the Bruins the last day of the year in 94. And it forced them, instead of playing Washington, they had to play Buffalo, and that set up the May Day game. 1994, 93-94 season. Go look at it. Last game of the year. Hartford won in Boston. Trust me.
I'm looking at it right now, Pierre. The year that the May Day happened when they swept the Bruins was 1993, and I remember it vividly because I graduated.
93-94 season.
Okay.
Right? Is it there?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
It wasn't that year. It was 92-93.
92-93. So I don't think we played them. I know for one thing, 93-94, we played the Bruins the last game of the year.
Okay. So I'm just looking at the first of the
just go to the last game of the year, 1993-94.
Okay. So the point of my story.
Just look at, you brought it up. Let's stick with it.
All right. And here we go. So 1993-94, you did play the Boston Bruins in the last game of the season.
Mm-hmm. And who won? Who won?
You did.
Yeah.
But the Bruins did not play the Sabres that year. That was not the May Day year.
So where did they end up?
I'll tell you right now. I believe they played the Canadiens in the first round and beat them.
It changed the matchup. That game cost them a matchup.
Yeah, I'm correct. The Bruins beat the Canadiens in 7 games in the first round in 1994. They lost to the Sabres in 4 games in 1993 in the first round.
No, but we're talking about the 93-94. 93-94. Who was the matchup they were supposed to get?
Well, if they played,
because it set them back, I can tell you.
But they won the first round.
Yeah. Well, then then go to the next. Okay, go to the year before, because I know how mad Brian Sutter was. Trust me.
Yep. No, I know you. So they would have played. So they ended up playing the Sabres, and they were swept. And they would have got, instead of that,
Washington.
Correct. They would have got Washington instead.
Yeah, so we did it to them 2 years in a row.
Okay, so 2 years in a row you beat them. Yeah. So my point is, though, they were heavy favorites going into that Buffalo series. They were on a roll coming into the playoffs there. I remember a game in March. They beat the Canadiens. The fans were like, this is the year. And then they go into the first round. And as you mentioned, it was May Day, and they lost. They got swept.
It was in the odd. The odd was a wild place, man.
So as you were just saying, you're riding that momentum like the Sabres are right now, because I kind of picture the Sabres as the Bruins from that year. How do you control that where you don't kind of get ahead of yourself and you're not thinking like, okay, it's a sure cinch that we're gonna go right through the first round with the way we're rolling right now?
You can't. Comfy cozy doesn't work. It doesn't work. Everybody's got to be a little tight. Everybody's got to be a little on edge. Yeah. One of the things I enjoyed was when you could play the role of spoiler, and you could affect.
I'd rather play that role.
If you weren't getting the opportunity to go to the playoffs down the stretch, you could do some damage, because that's basically what you're playing for.
Yep.
And especially when you're like we were in a full-on rebuild. People don't realize. And if you go look at the goals against in 92, 93 in Hartford to the goals against in 93, 94, I think it's something like an 80 or 82 different in goals differential for goals against. It's some crazy number. And so we were heading in the right direction. We just we ran out of racetrack because Brian had left. Berkey had left to go to the league.
Uh-huh.
But if you look at that's where I kind of tried to tell them, I know you're going to fire us all, but I'm just trying to explain to you, like,
we're on the right track.
We're going the right way. And then we all got fired, and then they went right down.
Yeah.
And eventually it led to Pronger getting traded to St. Louis.
Yeah. I know, because I remember that was right as I went to college, and the Whalers just kept progressively going down until they eventually moved to Carolina.
So it was heartbreaking because we had done – Berkey even said the first 2 years will be the hardest. He gave Brian was really fair. Everybody that went there got 3-year deals. Mm-hmm. And Berkey took care of everybody. Like it was really appropriate, because he said the first 2 years are going to be the hardest, and you're going to get judged more on what the third year is, which was what we were all kind of expecting. Mm-hmm. And then the team got sold after year 2, and Berkey left after year 1. And so it's like chaos mas macho.
Jeez.
Oh.
Do owners and management still do that now, Pierre? Is it still 3 years? Is it 5 years? Average
head
now.
Coach, good question. A lot of the head coaches, usually it's 5, but the assistants don't get that much. They could get 2 to 3. It's a volatile business.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, Jimmy, why I didn't go back after 2002, after the Olympics, because I had a bunch of opportunities to go. And I said, I got 2 children, and I don't want them living like nomads. And I didn't want to be away from them, and I didn't want my wife to live in Montreal and me to go wherever I was coaching. So I just said, I'll just stay on TV and do that. And it was the best thing that I ever did. My daughters turned out unbelievable, and I'm really proud of my son. And my wife and I are still together after 27 years, and I wouldn't change anything.
It worked pretty well.
It worked out okay.
Yep. All right. So, yeah, that's just something I was thinking of. But when you look at this, so back to this Buffalo team right now,
yep.
Given the fact that the history that they haven't been in the playoffs in so long, and that the market is alive again, would you agree with me that that's sort of the difference than maybe other teams that have maybe peaked too early? Like, I don't think they're peaking too early. I think they just keep going like this.
Yeah,
just the feeling I get.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. I think it's good. I'm not a big fan of like peaking. I think it's really important to have your guys ready. So the whole 82 game, next year's going to be 84, but the whole 82 thing is to get guys ready for that battle.
Yep.
And one of the greatest lessons I learned was in 91 and 92, Scotty would always tell the assistant coaches, all of us, everybody, and Badger would listen. When Bob was there, the responsibility of you guys on a day-to-day basis, make sure all the extra players are ready if somebody goes down and they have to go in the lineup. So you got to make sure they're battle ready every day. And so some of those practices that we had back then were probably as intense or more intense than any of the practices we had all year, just so guys, when they got their number called, would be ready to go.
Who was the guy that you came in a trade, and it was a game day skate or something, and he was like,
"Oh, we got him. He's a draft pick. I'm not going to tell you his name."
Okay, but yeah,
pick. He came in the middle of the season. It was a morning skate, And I'll never forget Wendell, the guy was complaining, and Wendell Young goes, "Hey, got bad news for you, man. This was a morning game day skate. You should come to the off day skates." And I heard him and I was laughing. I went up to Wendell. That's good. That's a good job, Wendell. Way to go. Hey, by the way, congratulations to Wendell. He just got in the American Hockey League Hall of Fame. So
That's right.
Yeah. Good for Wendell. He was this is the kind of guy Wendell is and was. I hope one of his friends sends this tape to him. When we were playing in the playoffs, like they were long back then, and we weren't flying on charters. We were flying commercial flights. And the extra guys, I mean, you'd probably have like 7 to 10 extra guys. And they knew they weren't playing. And so, and the per diems weren't as good as they are now. So we always be in, whether it's New York, Washington, Boston, it was expensive. You know, you go to Montreal, it's expensive. You go to Toronto, like, it was expensive to eat. So, and the guys weren't making what they're making now. Like, trust me, they weren't. And so Wendell came up and said, "Hey, I got an idea." I said, "What's the idea?" He said, "Could we get a credit card and the extra guys just after we get punished at the skates?" Because I was doing the skates. He goes, "And we go out for lunch because none of us are going to play." I said, "It's a good thought. Give me a day." So I brought it to the management. I brought it to Scotty and Bob and Craig. And Badger goes, "That's a really good idea."
Wow.
It's a really good idea. So Craig said, "I like that idea." So Wendell was a keeper of the card. Wow. So 2 years in a row, Wendell had this card. I don't know if it was MasterCard, American Express. I don't know which one it was. And Wendell was allowed $500 a day.
Which would tell the people it was a lot back then.
That was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
But so let's say we had 7 to 10 extras, give or take. Like none of the players were going. And this was only for after the day of the game skates. So it was just before. So they went out for lunch somewhere, and I'm sure they had a couple beers or whatever. But it made the harmony around our group amazing.
Yeah.
There was no malcontents or whining. And if there was, we didn't hear about it.
Yep.
You know, usually when there's that kind of stuff, you hear about it. We didn't hear about it. So I will always, Wendell's a good hockey man, but I will always remember he was a really good teammate.
Yeah. That's a great way to, like, I remember, covering the Bruins through some playoff runs, and I don't know if they did stuff exactly like that, but one thing I always noticed, Pierre, was their effort to make the Black Aces feel like part of the team. To always make them feel we appreciate everything you're doing right now. I know you're on the run. We're on the run of the playoffs. We're getting all the glory right now, but they would reference them in interviews, and that's the way to do it when you're in a playoff run, because hey, there might come a time when you need those guys, and
that's the whole thing.
Ready to go.
That was Scotty's whole thing, and he said that's what made the Canadiens so good for so long. They won, think about it, 5 cups in the 50s, and then you look at their runs in the 70s, just crazy. And he'd say we were deeper than everybody else because a lot of the Claude Ruel especially, he'd make sure guys were ready, and he really did a good job. Claude Ruel, that's another name. Hardly any hockey. You ask any hockey media, who's Claude Ruel? I don't know. Who's Claude Ruel? He was an amazing hockey player that lost his eye playing hockey, so he never had an NHL career. And the Canadiens liked him so much as a player, they brought him in as an assistant coach and a junior coach, and eventually ended up being the head coach of the Montreal Canadiens. It's an amazing story.
Yeah. Yep. I met him way back.
And he was Scotty's longtime assistant.
Good stuff.
You want to hear a quick Claude Ruel story?
Sure. Let's go.
I hope the fans like this one.
That's why they tune into us.
they were playing in LA, Montreal was, and then the next day they were flying up to Oakland to play the California Golden Seals. And so Scotty knew some of the boys were going to go out because LA wasn't any good back then and Oakland was terrible. So Scotty gave the doorman at the LAX Marriott, where most of the teams used to stay at the time, and even when I was coaching, that's where everybody stayed, at the LAX Marriott, because the rink was only about like 5 blocks away in Englewood, California. So Scotty says, every guy you get to sign, I'm going to give you $5. Any autograph after 12 o'clock, I'm going to give you $5. The guy goes, really? He goes, you know our players. He goes, oh, yeah, I know your players. So any guy that comes in after 12, get him to sign the stick. Scotty did it on purpose. So the guys, there's like 4 or 5 of them that signed the stick. So it's $20. Let's say it's $20. In those days, that was probably really good money. And the next morning, it's all part of Scotty's diabolical plan to get the team ready. The next morning, they get on the bus, and Scotty sees the doorman. He goes, "Hey, where's my stick?" And the doorman goes, "It's right here. Here's your money. Give me the stick." So he gives him the money, and he's right in front of the bus. And then he gets on the bus. And he goes, "Fellas, last night I gave the doorman of the hotel a stick, and I told him anybody that comes in after 12 o'clock, they have to sign it. And so 5 of you signed it." And he reads the names. I'm not going to say the names because it's not appropriate. So he says, man, he reads all the autographs because they put their numbers by it. He goes, "You guys just got a really good man fired, because I asked Claude to do bed check last night, and Claude did the bed check, Claude Ruel. And he said that everybody was in their rooms and everybody was safe and there was no issues. So thanks to you guys, you got Claude fired. I'm going to go tell him now." So Scotty walks off the bus. Claude's sauntering down, getting ready to get on the bus. And Scotty puts his arm around him and walks him back into the lobby. And Scotty goes, "Don't turn around. Just keep walking."
Work with me.
Yeah, work with me here. So he says, "Claude, the guys think I fired you. You're not fired. Please, you're not fired. Yeah. Here's an envelope. It's your money to get to the airport, and it's your plane ticket to Oakland today. You're going to fly in."
He really took it to him.
Yeah. He said, "But don't come to the rink until just before warm-up, and don't go to the locker room. Don't go to the locker room." And so he doesn't. And all the players are so bummed because Claude was their buddy.
God.
And he got him fired. They think they got him fired. And they go to Oakland and they pulverize. I don't know. I think what Scotty said, like 8 or 9-0. And Claude shows up on the bench and they were all relieved. That's a diabolical mind.
That is amazing.
That happened.
Wow. Only Scotty. Did he keep
I got a couple more, but I don't want to tell them all. Save them. There's one when I was coaching with them. We were playing in Quebec. All I'll say is we dropped them off in Verdun. We had played in Washington the night before. We flew to Montreal Saturday morning. We had a Sunday afternoon game in Quebec City. So we took the bus from Montreal and we dropped Scotty off, and he looks at me and he says, "I have a surprise for you when you get to the hotel in Quebec City." So surprise, like a gift? What is it? You'll find out. All of a sudden we get to the hotel. I was always like the last guy to go up. We get to the hotel. Guys are yelling and screaming in the lobby. They're complaining. There are no cell phones. So the lady says, "Are you Mr. McGuire?" I said, "I am." She goes, "There's a phone call for you at the front desk." So I go to the front desk. It's Scotty. He goes, "How is it? How is it?" I go, It's bad. Why? What's up?" I go, "What gift did you give me?" He goes, "Are the guys mad?" I go, "Yeah, the guys are really mad." He goes, "I changed all the roommates." I want them to focus on the game for tomorrow. He changed all the roommates.
Oh my gosh. God bless him.
It worked.
Yeah.
I think that one was like 8-1.
Pretty sure all his plans seemed to work.
Mario's mother and father came to the game that night in Quebec City, and they weren't going to let him into where the locker room area was. And I was the first time I ever saw Scotty get really mad.
Right.
And he went after the security guard in French. I was like, "Oh boy, this is a problem."
Good stuff. Hey, whatever happened to that stick?
You know what? I don't know. By the way, I just want one more thing to say. I saw somebody was put out a thing about future considerations on trades. Mm-hmm. I won't tell you the player who it was, but when I was in Hartford, I made a trade with the late Ron Caron. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I was doing it to give this young man an opportunity to play because he wasn't going to play in our organization. He was a really good kid and he got sick and it was really sad. And so Ronnie really needed a player and we had an extra guy. So we made a trade and he goes, "What do you want for him?" I said, "I don't know, Prof. I don't know. Tickets to a baseball game." He goes, nah. You know how you had the gravelly voice? Nah, I can't do that. So I go, I'll tell you what, a Brett Hull autograph stick. And he goes, that's done deal. Done deal. We have a deal. So we traded that player to St. Louis for a Brett Hull autograph stick, which we sold at the Hartford Whaler charity auction, which went to I think it was for the children that had childhood illnesses. I'm pretty sure. We went to the hospital in Hartford, but that's what we used. We traded the player for a Brett Hull autograph stick. So I'm seeing all these people that have future considerations for a bottle of red wine, a dinner here. I'm like, we traded one for a stick signed by Brett Hull.
For a good cause, too.
Yeah, it's for a good cause. Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right, I told enough stories to me.
It's all right. I like it. Before we get off to our sponsors and my picks and then our Q&A, Pierre, the Toronto Maple Leafs in Montreal tonight to play the Canadiens. And by the way, stay tuned here in the Sick Podcast Network for the debut of the Habs tonight pregame show. There you go. Live 1 hour before every Habs game. You can follow and subscribe at Habs Tonight on Instagram and Twitter. Everybody's really excited about that. Pierre, will be you and is Sid Sixero joining you as well?
I don't know. I know that I'm on for sure. I know that.
I think I saw that in the promo. And it's going to be great. They'll tee up the Leafs and the Habs tonight and continue to do this for the rest of the games.
Then we got post game with Tony.
And then post game with you and Tony as well. So we'll have you all covered for the game tonight and every Habs game going forward there. But speaking of the Leafs, Pierre, we talked about teams on a roll into the playoffs, right? And maintaining that momentum. Leafs in a completely different situation, a foreign situation to a lot of guys on this team, playing out the season, so to speak. We touched on this a little bit, I think, yesterday or the previous show, where, you know, it can be sometimes players don't realize, yeah, you might be out of the playoffs, but this is still very important for you. These are important games.
Career.
And furthermore, sometimes opponents don't realize that when they're playing a team playing out the season like that. How like when you were coaching, I don't know if you were ever in that situation, but
yeah, we were.
How do you present it to the players? You
know what? The players present it to one another. That's where I really want to commend Pat Verbeek on this. He's a general manager in Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
We were the first 20 games I coached Hartford, we had the third best record in the league. We were a really big story. And then we got Darren Turcotte hurt, Brian Marchman hurt, Mark Janssens, Sean Burke. We got like a ton of guys that were really important for us got hurt. And so we struggled for like 14, 15 game stretch. We really struggled, Jimmy. It was tough.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were probably when we started this one road trip, it went Quebec City, Montreal, Winnipeg, Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton. That's exactly the road trip. And until this year, I think it's the best road trip the Hartford Whalers / Carolina Hurricanes ever had. We won every game except for one in Montreal and an overtime loss in Calgary. The rest of that trip, we won every game, every single game. And we cut the deficit to 5 points. And then at the end of that trip, we came back and we just couldn't sustain it. So we lost it. So we had 10, 12 games left.
Mm-hmm.
And Patty stood up in the dressing room and says, you guys don't understand, like for the young guys, we might not make the playoffs, but how you play the rest of the way will dictate how people view you in the league. Yep. And it was I didn't have to say anything. It was a really good thought by Pat. Yeah. It really was. It was a really good thought. And it did make a difference. It did.
I had a coach tell me that one time, and he said, sometimes you can find out the true character of a player more in that situation than you do when you're on top.
That whomever that coach was that told you that was good because he's right on.
All right, let's tell you about our wonderful sponsors, Vago. Oh, before I do that though, I want to tell everybody a week from today, Pierre. It is March 10th, so we are 1 week out on St. Patrick's Day. Obviously, one of my favorite days of the year, my favorite weeks, and we will be spending it at this time next week. We will be sitting in Hurley's up in the rec room, broadcasting live the eye test for 2 hours, 4 to 6 p.m., teeing you up for the Bruins Canadiens at the Bell Center that night. Big thanks to Ahara's Beer. And obviously, Rod Appleby, the owner over at Hurley's. We're going to be there. We want everybody who's coming up for that game or those in Montreal already, come on by. I already been getting a great response on Facebook, Pierre. Going to see a lot of people there.
Excellent.
We're very excited. There'll be live Irish music downstairs as well throughout the night. Go there in the post game too, not just for us. It's going to be a great place to be. That's a great destination on St. Patrick's Day. And as our good friend Mark Recchi texted me when I told him what we were doing, he said, "I love that place. One of my favorite places."
I used to sit there a couple times a week with him. I'm just kidding. we had some nice nights in there.
As our good friend Mitch Melnick has always said, and Mark agrees, he says the best pint of Guinness in Montreal. So
for sure. Yeah, that for sure.
That's the place.
I'm very comfortable saying that. Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. All right, let's get to our sponsor, Vago, where you and I will be the night before, Pierre, and enjoying the old world classics they have combined for over 23 years with the new Italian dishes. They've got private dining rooms, any occasion, open Monday to Saturday evenings and lunch from Tuesday to Friday. They are located at 1336 Green Avenue in Westmount. For reservations, call 514-846-1414. Again, that is 514-846-1414. And Pierre, I think I'm going to go for that chicken palm that you love so much over there.
You should. I had it the other night, and I'm going to have it again.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the exact way you do.
It's good, man. It's good.
Yep. So looking forward to that over at Vago. And before that, of course, you want to tell you to go over to Betway, where you can still bet all the beauties with Betway. And if you're not a member yet, I hope you are if you've been watching us. But if you're not and you're new to the show here and you haven't heard, they have an amazing welcome offer right now for new members. Up to $300 back on your first deposit, even if you lose your first bet. So go to the QR code if you're watching right there in front of you. Sign up for your new membership and take advantage of that. Or if you're not watching, just listening, go to the members section of their website and fill out the details there, and you'll get a great deal there. You must be 18 plus. Always bet responsibly. Terms and conditions apply, and one of those terms is it is not available in Ontario. Let's get to my picks for tonight. All right. The aforementioned Buffalo Sabres, who have been rolling, I like them a lot. I think they can go deep in the playoffs. However, they're coming off arguably one of the most exciting, emotional, craziest games in recent memory for that organization. A game that people are still talking about and probably talking about for weeks to come. In that win against the Tampa Bay Lightning the other night, I'm smelling letdown city, Pierre. Give me the San Jose Sharks as the underdogs to go into Buffalo tonight at plus 170 value and pull off the upset. And then I'm going to go to Boston, where we mentioned the Boston Bruins, LA Kings, crucial game for both teams as they try to make it into the playoffs. I'm liking the goaltender matchup right now. RC Kemper against Jeremy Swayman. Both goalies have been great as of late. Give me the under 6.5 there at minus 140 value. And then one more I got for you. The Detroit Red Wings are down in Florida. Florida Panthers in a tough situation. Not their fault. They ran out of gas. They battled a lot of injuries, and they're kind of riding out the season right now. But, you know, it is what it is. No Brad Marchand tonight, but the team they're playing is in a playoff spot, and I think they want to continue to maintain that spot there. So give me the Red Wings minus 1.5 at plus 225 value. All right, what do we got? Seamoke, Pierre and Jimmy, where are all the analysts that said the Sabres lost the Doan Kesselring trade? Doan has 21 goals, same as Peterka. Trade worked out well for both teams. Good piece of work for Kevin Adams. Totally agree, Seamoke. And you're right. Those critics have been crickets as of late. Next question. Renaissance Resistor. Been hearing all the rumors about Nyes, where he's talking about Renaissance, I believe, is talking about this rumored trade that fell through to Montreal. But could the real target have been Austin Matthews?
No and no.
No and no. I'm with Pierre on this. I don't believe the rumors about Nyes, and I don't think it would have been Matthews.
No and no.
Yep. All right, next question. Gerbs, how do the Habs not overlook the Leafs tonight after a tough road trip, knowing they have an important matchup tomorrow? Very valid question, Gerbs. We spoke about this yesterday. First game back's always hard, especially from the West Coast. Plus, you're playing a team that you could easily overlook. You don't do it by preparing correctly, and hopefully the coaching staff is able to do that.
I agree. I think the guys know what's at stake. I think they understand.
All right. By the way, Pierre, what do you think of the deep pairings tonight? Switched it up a bit.
Yeah, they're trying to get Michael Matheson going again.
Yeah.
So he played the best he played all year when he played with Dobson.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right, next question. Emil Shelburne, what are the chances Winnipeg makes the playoffs?
They got to keep running the way they are. Not going to be easy for them, but they've dug themselves out of the hole, which is really good. I still think San Jose's got a little bit more of an opportunity. I think LA's got a little bit more of an opportunity. They're not going to crack the top 3 in the Central. They're just not. You're not Dallas, Minnesota, like they're locked and loaded. Colorado, you're not cracking those guys. Those guys are staying there.
Yeah. Winnipeg right now kind of reminds me of Columbus last year, Pierre. Remember the role they
Yeah,
got on?
last 2 years, actually. You're right. It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a very good point. It's fair.
All right, next question. Juice, what exactly is going on with the Flyers going on 5 years now with no playoffs?
I have no comment.
I'm going to say the same. No comment.
I just want to say this. If all the people that are pointing their finger at the coach,
look at the
not
roster.
his fault, man.
Yep. All right, next question. David Robinson, speaking of Mark Savard, who I loved as a player when he played with Sturm, can we envision an assistant coaching job with the Bruins as the return we all want?
I don't know. That depends on his relationship was with Cam and Donnie. I know he's friends with Sturm. I was there. I did a bunch of those games. I think they're really happy with Steve Spott. I think they really like Chris Kelly. So unless they're prepared to add on another salary, I don't know. I just don't. Like, I can tell you right now, Jimmy, I'm going to tell you again, for all the fans out there, they just think, oh, these owners are going to write the check for this and write the check for that. I think part of why we had such a dead trade deadline this year
is the rising cap.
Yes.
Yep.
And
the opposite
a lot of the owners don't want to. They don't want him.
Yeah. As far as I agree with everything you said there, that was exactly what I was going to say to Dave too, is just where do you put him, Dave, right now? It's no knock on Savard. It's just look how much great work Steve Spott's done with that power play. So It's just a tough situation there. I do think he'll find work elsewhere though, for sure. All right, next question. D Fudge. I heard a lot about moving Slav to the Habs first line permanently. I think 2 would be better to spread the talent. Is an A+ line and a B line better than 2 B+ lines?
Well, I don't know how Slav playing with Suzuki and Caulfield is a B+ line. That's an A.
I think it's
plus line. It's one of the top 5 lines in the league. So I was the one that I argued pretty substantially that should be a line. So they got to find a winger to play with the other 2, with Kapanen and with Demidov. I don't think it's Newhook, though. Yep. Here's what I'd say. Here's a compromise, Jimmy. I said to Mitch yesterday, what about Josh Anderson going up and playing on the big line and then put Slavkovsky back with the other 2? It's an experiment. You can, if you win tonight and tomorrow, you probably can experiment a little bit because you've got some pretty good collateral. But you got to win the next 2 games. Then you can start to mess around a little bit if you want.
All right. Next question. Brandon. Hey, guys. Pierre, I'm excited for the pregame show you're doing tonight with Tony and Sid. I got my dad coming over to watch it and get ready for the Habs Leafs. Will the Habs finish top 3 in the Atlantic?
I think they will. The goal differential matters a lot. And I said to Jimmy before that -1 for Detroit's spooky. They're the only team in the East that's in a playoff position that's a minus goal differential. So I think that Montreal could. Again, you got to take care of business tonight and tomorrow. Take care of tonight and then worry about tomorrow.
All right, next question. Mr. Malkin, that's our good friend Jason Logan.
Yes.
Hey, Murph and Pierre, Sydney, that's Jason's son, wants to know, do you think Cole Caulfield will hit the 50-goal mark? He has 12 goals in 2 games.
Why not? He's got a chance. He's got a chance to do it.
He does. If only he could play every game on a Saturday night.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is if Slav stays on that line, he could.
Yep.
I think he could.
And, credit to him too, Pierre. He's playing a lot better away from the puck as well this season.
He has been. I agree with that.
All right, next question. Ethan Russell, what's up, Ethan? How about UMass? Yeah, how about them, Ethan? I hope you're going out Saturday to see them at the Mound Center. Have you watched their recent commit, Maxime Massé? What a job by Carvel. Rabel is something. I have not watched him, but I agree with everything else you say there, Ethan.
I have not seen him. I know the Talafair kids that are coming. They're really good players.
Uh-huh.
Really, I was there on their recruiting trip. They're outstanding players.
Yep.
So I don't know that young man. I
And
don't
by the
know.
way, Pierre, the kid Curran that was in the Cadre trade is going to UMass next year, right?
Well, he's hurt right now, so I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know that, but he's hurt. He got hurt the other night.
All right. And what do we got here? Oh, it's Shane saying from Massey, 94 points in 58 games in Chicoutimi. Wow.
There you go. That's
There you
good.
go. I like it. All right. What's the next question? What do we got?
Carv has to learn how to speak French.
Michael Maloney. Pierre, Vegas looks lost. Something is really off. Is this an example of just how valuable Pietrangelo is to that team while they are struggling?
I didn't like he was obviously an important part of their team. Unfortunately for him, it's not feeling good. And Martinez going away too is a tough deal too.
Yeah.
Martinez is a really important player. They've had a lot. It's because of the cap, a lot of this. Marsh is so moved on. I mean, stuff happens. They look a little bit discombobulated now, though.
Yeah.
They do. We'll see. Right. We'll see. They've got more than enough firepower to overcome some of the internal stuff, but we'll see.
All right. Next question. Chad Laylaw, Pierre, as a coach, what are some adjustments you can make to improve road game success? I'm concerned about the Bruins in this regard. Yeah,
one of the biggest things is you got to pay attention to matchups on the road. You got to make sure you don't take 3 or more power or penalties against. You got to really control face-off play, at least be 50%, not be less. Because if you win face-offs, you can make change on the fly to get more matchups that you need to have. Matchups to win on the road are really important. It's really, really important.
All right, next question. Gabriel Lamb, do you see Buffalo making an aggressive move in the offseason to capitalize on the momentum?
I do. I thought Yarmo would be aggressive at the trade. Jimmy had the idea. He came on our show and he wasn't hiding anything.
Yep.
So one of the aggressive moves will be to get Alex Tuck signed. I think if they keep Alex Tuck, that's a pretty aggressive move. And there's more to it than that too, but Buffalo's going to be very difficult to play against. Very, very difficult to play against.
All right, next question. Chris Gaming TV, Pierre, what can you tell us about the newest Pens acquisition, Soderblom, and would you sign Manther and Brazeau long term?
Soderblom is a big, tall kid, about 6'7", 6'8". Hasn't put up the points that I think Detroit was expecting to put up when they had him. He's never really found his way offensively in the league. He's big though, and he's not afraid. He's a big guy, and Brazeau's a big guy, and Mantha's a big guy. I don't know if I'd give Brazeau a long-term deal, no, and I'm not sure I'd give Mantha a long-term deal either. I'd probably stick 2 to 3 years, and if they wanted more than that, I'd say we can't do any better than what we're giving you.
Yeah, the way you described Soderblom, though, sounds so much like Brazeau and Mantha.
He's similar, except he's taller than both of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's another reclamation project for the Pens, and we'll see what they can do. All right, that's it for our questions today. We appreciate everyone's questions as always. Great job. And thanks to everyone listening and watching. Yeah. And thanks to Shane working the boards up in Montreal. Reminder, as we said, a week from today on St. Patrick's Day, up in Montreal, 1225 Crescent Street at Hurley's Irish Pub. Pierre and I will be there. Big thanks to Ahara's Beer and also Rod Appleby for that. And then the next day, we will be traveling down to Lake Placid, and from Thursday to Saturday, Thursday and Friday, we'll be broadcasting live at our new home there of the Lake Placid Brewery. Looking forward to that. I can't wait for that steak again. Can't wait for that hospitality and playing some pogues for the staff there, as they liked me doing the last time I was there. Pierre. Looking forward to that. But listen, really, really excited. It's going to be a great week for the eye test next week, but we got 3 more left this week. So tune in tomorrow. A great guest also tomorrow, Pierre, your good friend. You want to say it? Or you want me to? Okay. Fred Harbinson from the Penticton Bees. What a first year in the WHL for them.
For 3 years, we've had Freddie on the air. We keep trying to tell people this guy's a really good coach, really, and everybody's laughing. No. Yeah. How's his team doing now?
Yep. I don't have the facts in front of me, but I want to say I read somewhere it was close to or tied the record for most wins in first year in the WHL. I'll get the exact details on that tomorrow, but nonetheless, an amazing rookie season for that team. In the
He's a
WHL.
tremendous coach.
Yep. And so that's it. We'll see you tomorrow here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.